Right, so, what do you call it? They're going to do the announcement for this. I've kind of rushed the stream because I thought I had an extra half hour, but I didn't. So we're just going to run it live, and then if people want to watch it back, they can. I can't live stream tomorrow, so I thought I'd just do it today. Pageantry and nonsense in Parliament is kind of outrageous. So we're drinking to it, it's hot as hell. Yeah. Bit crazy, honestly. This one, I think they're going to do the announcement. So let's see what happens. Let's see if the rebels held strong to what they actually believed in. If they fumbled like they did with the winter fuel allowance, which arguably said that was for the government. Division clear. Yeah, it's just
Order.
The ayes to the right, 149. Whoa. The noes to the left, 328.
Oh. Is that to the... I think that's to the amendment. I think that's to the reasoned amendment.
The ayes to the right, 149. The noes to the left, 328. The noes have it. Unlock.
So I think this is to the amendment. I didn't quite catch the first bit of it. 149, yes. Has it been announced already then? Am I behind?
The question is that the bill be now read a second time. As many that opinion say aye?
Aye!
Mr. Country, no?
No!
End the lobby.
Looks like it's still going. MPs vote, yeah. Second reading has failed with 149 votes, yes. 349 no, so... This nonsense is going to pass. Yeah, do you know what? Whilst this is ongoing, we can watch some takes from Twitter. To be fair, you don't have to watch this lot. Just keep walking in and out. So this is Jonathan Reynolds, who I've been told is apparently one of the better Labour goons, being asked about statutory maternity pay.
How much do you get a week?
I think it's paternity pay actually.
If you get the statutory, yeah. Nick, my eldest and my youngest is 10, so I'm not actually sure what the statutory is anymore.
Do you not feel you should know what the statutory paternity leave is in this country? If this is a very important piece of work, as you said right at the top.
This is the second time a Labour minister has been caught out because they didn't know the figures by Nick Ferrari of all people. You're telling me Nick Ferrari read the brief and understood it better than you?
Mr. Reynolds, shouldn't you know what it is?
I should, to be honest, Nick, but you must apologise to you rather than try and...
Hey, don't worry about me.
It is.
No.
Why are you here, big dog?
Apologise to the listeners. I don't really.
It is quite a while since my youngest was born.
But you are launching this initiative today, aren't you? You're talking about how you want to look at the possibility of extended parental leave, and you don't have a clue as to what we're currently paying.
Colleagues should be seated and quiet.
Let's just go.
I know it's in the main what people are focused on, Nick, is the amount of time that people
it's
get.
£187,
you know when I come on your
18 pence a week. 187.
You know when I come on your show, I never.
187 a week is pathetic. It's crown. Yeah, I don't. it's a bit embarrassing, really. So they're still doing the clearing. Honestly, I don't know how you could be a minister, come on and not know figures. Like, that's your job at the end of the day. Want to touch on the bill as well, which is that Starmer has dramatically cut his flagship welfare reform an hour before it faced a humiliating Commons vote. It's a major U-turn that leaves his leadership badly damaged, beleaguered. Rachel Reeves' fiscal plan in tatters. She must now fill a £6 billion black hole. So, evening. So he's pulled the most toxic element of the bill because of Rachel Reeves' fiscal rule. You know, the whole reason they're in this mess is because of the fiscal rules. Let's be honest. They put themselves into a massive trap of, we're not going to increase taxes, right? They mention specific taxes, which again, if they raised income tax on the highest earners, I don't think most people would have a problem with that. They didn't. So they had choices. They put themselves in a box, and then instead of instead of doing what politicians do, which is lie, they decided, nah, on this dumb policy, we're going to tell the truth, and we're going to try and make it work. Like, how stupid are you? The whole fiscal rules thing is so dumb. Even you've got people who used to work at the Bank of England saying, get rid of, change the fiscal rules. Like, I'll find you guys the clip. Like, he was Holden, I think his name is, I can't remember. Essentially saying something that I've been saying as well, which is, get rid of the fiscal rules. It's so dumb. Like, I'm baffled at how stupid these people are. You got MPs kind of backing out of this. Like, I'm kind of astonished at this whole situation, to be honest. Here he is, Bank of England, Anthony Haldane, I don't know how to pronounce that, discussing this. I think there's only one clip we've got of him, which is unfortunate because the guy is big brain, especially compared to this lot.
And there's absolutely a case for trying to get as many people of the 9.5 million currently economically inactive back into the workforce as possible.
Yeah. But
a fiscal first way of doing those things, the like of which we're now experiencing, is not the right way to do it. You need to work backwards from jobs and employment, not forwards from what we need to balance the book. So I think we've got this wrong by putting the fiscal cart ahead of the employment.
This is the Geddes Acts all over again. We had a situation where the government, wanted to keep reducing, public spending. So they cut it. They kept cutting it, and the public finances kept shrinking because the economy kept shrinking because the Geddes Acts. What are all these crowns for? What's all this XP nonsense? Is this new? Am I so far behind the times? Is this first, second, and third? That's wow. Never seen this before.
So what would your advice to the Chancellor be right now?
On the fiscal front? Well, we've already, on the back of the changes made to the welfare bill, on the back of the U-turn on winter fuel, that will blow a £4 billion hole relative to the expectation a few months ago, roughly half the headroom that the government had. We are then in the land of hard choices, prospectively in the budget. Lower spending, higher taxes, or a tweak to the rules. Of those three invidious choices, I would plump for the third of those. There's more flex in the rules that would give us a chance to get growth going.
Which is what she needs, to get the debt down as a percentage of GDP. She needs growth. She needs growth. Chuckle true fiscal rules. It's astonishing. Honestly, I saw this tweet from what's his face. Peston, right? Bring this because there's nothing really. This is fine. I saw this tweet from Peston, which is actually, let me show you this tweet. I'll start from NJ first. Rachel, I'm beginning to think that Morgan McSweeney was not the brilliant tactician I thought he was. Yeah, this one made me laugh. Especially because I referenced that exact thing beforehand. Because the underlying discontent among rebels and even loyal Labour MPs stems from what they would say is a pathetically late discovery that what's driving so much government policy is Rachel Reeves' fiscal rules and the absolute power of the OBR in determining whether she's breaching those rules or not. Did I not tell you this to you guys last year? When we discussed, when I was on stream with Bowler Hatman. And I told you the fiscal rules are a major problem. He goes, nah, they're going to ditch the fiscal rules. She might not have a choice now. because her measures to cut spending have gone absolutely asunder. Like, unless she tries to make out like there's no point, as in it's impossible to not change the fiscal rules, and therefore she's dragged to that decision. Which, if that's the case, then Bowler Hatman would be correct, but not in the way he would have expected, I guess. For politicians to finally come to this conclusion is crazy. Like, I was telling you guys this last year. Big Maj Studios was able to predict this in a cave with a box of scraps. Like, these guys have whole research teams and they don't get it. I saw this tweet as well, made me laugh. President Trump says he will have to take a look at potentially deploying Elon Musk. Please do that. It'd be hilarious. But yeah, you have Andy Howden saying the same thing I've been saying, which is about the fiscal rules. Oh, here we go. Good timing. On the rich, that ain't gonna happen, dog. Just doing a little live stream for the votes and stuff, just some live reactions and things, and then we'll just go over the speeches and all that. So I'm basically going today, and it's way too hot to be doing this. Honestly, I'm struggling here. Let's see. Honestly, this whole thing is just it'll be better if they lose now. It will be better if they lose this vote now. I saw Phil's video where he said he would vote for this second reading, but that guy's moronic. Honestly, like, if he's talking about all of the good bits of legislation, they could pass legislation that has just the good bits in it. That's the good bits. You don't have to do toxic bills like this. I'm kind of shouting over this, but you don't have to do a toxic bill like this if you want the good things in it. This is a classic trap that normally right-wingers do, which is they'll present you a bill that is good in places but very toxic in others, and when you don't vote for it, they'll say you're the reason we can't have nice things. The same trick Boris Johnson pulled when it came to the Trade and Cooperation Act, the agreement. He goes, if this bill fails, that's on you, even though he's the party of government. It's crazy to me. Like, this whole system is so backward. Like, I don't, what were Labour thinking with this? I'm baffled. Like, Morgan McSweeney is just such a terrible strategist. He doesn't know ball, guys. He doesn't know. He won a very lucky general election, and he's dining off that, like, he won the Battle of Yarmouk with the Arab team, effectively. Like, it's crazy. Can we get on with this, please? It's driving me insane. We already covered Reynolds, covered that. Andy Burnham saying, whatever people's views about the concession, surely everyone can see the process here is wrong. Third reading in 8 days, a timetable that diminishes the role of MPs in getting this legislation right, shuts out disabled people and puts many at risk. Vinfo, I promised the Greater Manchester Disabled People's Panel that I would represent their opposition to this bill all the way to the end, and that is what I am doing. It's, the correct thing to do. No vision, no idea, it's true. Just like Wonder, they like vision. So it's one of my favourite drinks. This is, I think it's Rachel McCaskill, not Claire McCaskill, discussing this.
It's my community, my responsibility, and I cannot cross by on the other side. For one, let alone for the 150,000.
Will they kill the bill? Potentially. If they can get the numbers, I think it'll be done. Oh, here we go. They must be hot as hell in this place, honestly. Like, I can't imagine, like, wearing full suits like this. Like, it's wow. Unless they got good air conditioning in here, this building. I don't think they'll kill it, guys. I think there's enough MPs that will back out this, especially if the Conservatives back it. Is that a dog there? Oh, it's got a support dog.
Order, order.
The ayes to the right, 335. The noes to the left, 260.
It's going through second reading. It's over. So much for the rebellion.
The ayes to the right, 335. The noes to the left, 260. So the ayes have it, unlock.
We're going to do a second reading, I think.
Point of order, Ms Wade, is it really relevant to business right now? Point of order, Helen Wakely.
Madam Deputy Speaker, please could you advise, in the light of the shambles of this afternoon, the fact that this bill has been ripped apart literally in front of our eyes in this chamber, and that the government minister cannot even tell us how much it is now going to save, can you please advise whether this should still be rushed through to be debated next week here at committee stage, or whether the government should in fact withdraw this bill?
The honourable member has put her point on the record, and the honourable member has been a minister in the past, so she will know the scheduling of business is a matter for government and not for the chair. Programme motion to be moved formally.
Formally.
The question is as on the order paper. Is Mary that opinion say
I've
aye?
got a better Speaker of the House now. She seems pretty good.
Aye?
Aye.
Of the contrary, no.
Embarrassing.
The ayes have it. The ayes have it. I don't need chuntering from the sidelines. Money resolution to be moved formally.
Formally.
The question is as on the order papers. Many of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Of the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. I now go on to motion number 5 on prisons. Minister to move.
I beg to move.
It's done. It's cooked. It's cooked. They did it. The bill's going through. So all of this talk. All of the fact that so many people are against it. Rachel Maskell saying 600 people took their lives under the Tories under brutal reforms. The tragedy of this ideology could be worse.
Any government that takes office should aim to reduce poverty in this country. Why then do her own government's figures show that the actions that she is taking this afternoon will put an extra 150,000 people into poverty? And does she really think that is what her backbenchers expected when they were elected to government last year?
I think that's what they call chutzpah, Mr. Speaker, seeing as members opposite put an extra 900,000 children into poverty. And this government is determined to tackle it.
How are you tackling it by putting more children into poverty? Are you trying to raise the number so that when you try and lower it, it looks more impressive? Is that your goal here?
This government will take 100,000 children out of poverty by our plans to extend free...
Yeah, so you're going to plunge... You're going to take 100,000 kids out of poverty, but you're plunging 150,000 kids into poverty. They haven't passed the bill yet. It's got to go to second reading.
School meals to every household on you.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. I don't know if there's much else. MPs say that Farage and Corbyn standing near each other in the lobby, in the Yes lobby, is helping to focus minds at MPs as Maskell wrecking amendment. I mean, if they think that's what's helping them, then whatever, I guess. I can't remember if there's any more clips I did want to discuss with this.
Vote in the House of Commons tonight on whether to create a two-tier disability system where if you have a kid who's born with a disability, if you have an accident which causes a disability, or you develop a disability like what I did in my teens, then the government's going to treat you differently. It's going to make you worse off than those with the exact same conditions. Well, Labour MPs from Scotland, they can stop that law from coming into force. They can vote with their feet to protect disabled people. I'll be doing that. Will they?
Yes, good video that. That's more from her.
Are you happy to send 150,000 people to poverty?
How are you?
Oh, they're gonna make 100. They're gonna They say children in that other clip. No, 150,000 people into poverty, not children. So.
Are you happy sending 150,000 people?
Get to put your son cream on.
What did she say?
Are you sending 150,000 people?
Get to put your son cream on.
Get your son cream on. What?
What's the next U-turn, Angela?
Yeah, you know, she's probably the one that's most egregious, to be fair, but look how proud they are walking out.
38 organisations representing disabled people said they needed a voice in this debate. Denied to date, not consulted, we must remember. So I tabled that amendment alongside my colleagues on behalf of this.
I saw, you know, she mentioned, I think it's 138 there. I saw Phil criticising that as well, saying, oh, you know, maybe they should need to get a bigger group. It's like, these are small charities and, like, you know, little pressure groups. Like, you know, if you know, it looks much worse if the government ignores 138 groups versus one.
Disabled people, ensuring that they had some agency.
You know, they haven't consulted. It's just, wow.
2021, when the then government cut universal credit by £20 a week, you described it as morally and economically wrong. Why was Tory cuts morally wrong in 2021, but your cuts now okay?
Yeah, we are. Well, yeah, I guess so. But the thing is, that's what happens when you get power. It changes people.
Hey.
Well, first of all, I'm very proud to have led the campaign to have kept the increase to universal credit after the pandemic. I think the proposal back then, as you say, to cut that was completely wrong. I have always wanted to...
Disabled people significantly contribute to the UK economy with their collective spending power, known as the Purple Pound, estimated at 274 billion annually. And that's the thing. Like, instead of taxing rich people who just try and hide their money up, you know, and stuff abroad, you know, they're punishing people who actually do put money back into the economy.
To see the basic element of universal credit for people who are unemployed go up, which is exactly what is being proposed by this government, with the biggest increase to the basic amount of unemployment benefit since the early 1980s. I say again, this is not about cutting the amount of money we spend at the minute. We're going to be...
I mean, it is about cutting. That's the whole point. You're cutting it in order to help with future forecasts.
Spending a lot more money, come what may, on PIP. The figures are very, very large. But I would say the big change from 2021 to now is, since the pandemic, we've seen this incredible increase in people who are not going back into the labour market. We are an international outlier. No other country has had...
Yeah, because our healthcare system is absolutely knackered. That's why. It went from one of the best to one of the worst.
Had the increase in disability benefit spending we've had. No other country has got a situation where there are few people in the workplace, haven't gone back to the pre-pandemic employment level. So that there are real things to fix.
But your argument with the U-turn from last week is that now existing PIP claimants are not going to lose. It's only going to be future PIP claimants, which is, as you said, could lead to a hypothetical increase in poverty. But
it's not hypothetical. It will happen. Like, you're changing criteria. You are changing the rules.
Your argument is because existing claimants aren't losing, it's okay.
Well, I think we've listened to the concerns.
No, David. It's not austerity because the government actually increased total expenditure. Therefore, it can't be austerity.
Mr. Speaker, I welcome her words that recognise the need to enable disabled people to fulfil their potential. Since April, I've engaged with the government, making it clear I could not support the proposals on PIP. Our manifesto committed to championing the rights of disabled people and to the principle of working with disabled people. Having no public consultation on these plans excludes the voices of disabled people. This is not just about process. This makes disabled people worse off. The principle of fairness means disabled people had a legitimate expectation to be consulted, and in order to fulfil the Equality Act Section 149, public sector equality duty.
Yeah, that's why it could probably, you know, go to courts potentially.
Why did the Department for Work and Pensions choose not to consult with disabled people on PIP proposals, and what work will her department do to win back the trust of disabled people?
My honourable friend is a powerful voice, and I know she will always remain that in this House. We are absolutely...
Sounds a bit... her tone of voice is a bit patronising.
...committed to co-producing this PIP review led by Sir Stephen Timms. She may know we are also setting up collaboration committees on access to work and on pathways to work to make sure we...
They will be named. Everyone who votes for it will be named.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Her and many other disabled people and their organisations.
Yeah, no, ridiculous. So that Ben Habib video, I'll talk about that another time.
all agree that the welfare system needs reform, but many of us in this place believe that changes for disability support should not take place without listening to disabled people's voices and experiences. Over the last few days, I'm hopeful that the government has shown strength in listening and moving on what they've heard. However, I have a question on the sequencing. What is the logic of making changes to future claimants before finishing the TIMS review, now co-produced with disabled people? Could this lead to not just 2 tiers, but 3 tiers? Those existing claimants, those new claimants who will lose out, and those post-TIMS review?
No, that won't be correct. As I've set out in my statement, existing claimants on PIP will be protected. But the reason that we are making...
existing ones will be protected. It's just the new ones that won't be. I know that was a joke because you and I compared the increased spending to inflation projections. Yep.
The changes for future claimants is we want to start to focus that for future claimants on those with higher needs. But current claimants of both PIP and, as I've set out, on Universal Credit Health top-up, no one who are claiming those benefits will be pushed into poverty as a result of the changes in this bill.
Yeah, I can't lie. I've got a video where I'm going to be cooking Graham Hughes, so keep an eye out for that.
These welfare savings...
So this is the guy doing the review.
...will push an extra 150,000 people into poverty by the end of the decade. I understand.
So the government's own figures say that they will be pushing more people into poverty. The guy leading the review on PIP has other ideas.
And you say that doesn't take into account anyone who might get a job, for example. So if it's 50,000 pushed into poverty or 100,000 pushed into poverty, is that okay with you?
I think the net effect of our package will be to reduce poverty because over time we will get more and more people into work. So the last Labour government...
It's a big assumption that they're going to get... The thing is, he's talking about people generally, but what about disabled people? Or people who are, the ones who are generally unable to go to work? They're the ones that are being punished here.
Thing called the New Deal for Disabled People brought down very substantially the disability employment gap, greatly increased the proportion of disabled people in work, and progress on that stalled in 2010. We want to get back on track with delivering that process, making sure that people who at the moment have been trapped outside work for a long time, completely unnecessarily, have been told by the system, you are not capable of doing any work, which is simply untrue. We want people to have opportunities for employment to increase.
Oh, that's vintage. That is. I want you guys to listen to this because I've heard this one before. Have you guys heard this one before? Do you remember me talking about this one?
Of doing any work, which is simply untrue. We want people to have opportunities for employment.
Opportunities for employment. So this goes back to uni where my old professor Graham McBeath said, when you do things like welfare cuts, you don't say, we're cutting money for disabled people, whatever. We're saying we're giving them more opportunities to work. Is exactly what he said there. Crazy.
To increase their incomes and as a result to escape from poverty.
Right, so are you saying...
We're giving more poor people the opportunity to work.
Saying nobody's going to be pushed into poverty by these reforms?
I think we're going to have a system which does a much, much better job in supporting people to fulfil their ambitions, to earn a good living for them.
They're back into work. So it's basically they're going to make a system where maybe they increase it so people are more, workplaces have to be more accommodating to people. But fundamentally, they're going to try and push people with disabilities back into work. That's their whole goal here.
Themselves to do well in the future. And
does that mean nobody's pushed into poverty?
I don't expect people to be pushed into poverty as a result of this. I expect new opportunities to open up for people.
Yeah, new opportunities, yeah. See. So, I mean, that's a classic, that is.
Young people who have made no contact with the jobs market and are not even in training as well.
That's catastrophic. That we have 1 million people aged 18 to 24 who are neither learning nor earning is catastrophic for them individually, but for their community and for the whole economy. So, something very seriously needs to be looked at there, and not just at age 16 or 18. This you can trace, I think, right back to getting work into the bloodstream of pupils, I would say, from age 14 onwards. That we have singularly...
Yeah, I think with this, it's just, people need to understand make work pay. It's like Kevin Bridges' scarecrow joke. It's no longer a joke. I know, I worked with people who were capable and others who are not entering employment market work. Not any placement for individual situations. Hello, by the way. This about Farage. I don't think there's a ton more to discuss. So, it's the government's own forecast. So that is estimated that there will be an additional 150,000 people, age adults in relative poverty after housing costs in financial year ending in 2030 as a result of the model changes to Social Security compared to baseline projection. So by their own figures, they're pushing, by their own figures, there'll be 100,000 people. I think additional 150,000 people in poverty. So this is them. This is their own figures doing this right here. So they know it's going to happen.
Creating a two-tier system for people with profound needs and disabilities who quite rightly expect the community as a whole to recognise and support them. On page 3 of her statement, the Secretary of State asked herself the rhetorical question about a two-tier system. Can she simply confirm that somebody now eligible for personal independence payment gets it, somebody with a similar condition, whenever this bill has become law, suffers the same kind of condition, will not be eligible for the personal independence payment, and their support will be either from friends.
Yeah, I can't lie. I really wish he was Pierre. I really wish if he could have won that 2017 general election, we would not be in this situation. Honestly, like it would be a much better world that we're in if he had won that election. That would have been the best timeline, to be honest.
Friends or family, or no support at all. Is she really happy that we're deliberately creating a two-tier system for people with profound needs and disabilities?
It's part of British culture. You go back to the old workhouses where they force people back into, they force people to work effectively when they shouldn't have had to. It's very much in the DNA.
Who quite rightly expect the community as a whole to recognise and support them.
Absolutely.
I would simply say to the honourable gentleman, there are many differences in the benefit system already where people are on different rates and different rules depending on the time that they came into the system.
That's a bad system. That's a bad system inherently.
It's always been a part of the social security system, including under previous Labour governments. The Timms review will look at the different descriptors and the points that are delivered to them, alongside much...
Tim, the guy who said he doesn't think people will be pushed into poverty, despite the government's own impact assessment report saying 100,000 people will be pushed into poverty. Okay. What do you want?
The atmosphere was deteriorating as Liz Kendall spoke today?
I think that it was very clear that more questions came as a result of the concessions over the weekend. This is one of the reasons I didn't support the concessions, because the first instance I could think of was how they're going to administrate this. And then I think there is a sense of betrayal about the Timms review, that won't come to a closure before these changes can come in. And I think that a lot of
the bill passed second reading by 75 votes.
People are frustrated yet again at that. And I think, as Dr. Tidball said in that, we should have had disabled people's voices in this from the beginning. We should have been consulting on the 4 points from the beginning. Myself and her work very closely. We're both Sheffield MPs, we're both disabled MPs, and we made that very clear right at the beginning of this process.
Danny, Olivia Blake, did you think the atmosphere was deteriorating?
Yeah, no, it's kind of over, I'll be honest. The concessions don't go far enough. Like I don't. There's not much more to discuss on this. I don't think there's much more to say. Like I don't, with the Labour Party, I'm kind of just it's that second reading, so it's got to go to a third reading to pass. Is whilst the government could be taking the ECH out, I think it's possible. I don't think it's likely. If they've broken equality law, then it's possible. But I don't know how true that is. It depends on how many employees the business employs. Yeah, and I don't imagine the business are going to go out of their way to try and accommodate people when they don't have to. There's no law saying that they have to hire people who require specific accommodations. There are discrimination laws. You can't discriminate against them. But how would you prove that they've been discriminated against? Like the only way you could do it is if the interview's over Zoom, and then once they're there, they say, I've got these problems. but then the business will have to accommodate them, as far as I'm aware. But you know, that's why they do. That's one of the reasons why they do. I think in-person interviews, they can get a scope of the person. And if they think you're not a person, you're a person who needs a lot of accommodations, they're just not going to hire you, and they'll hide behind corporate speak. If this bill passes, how can I vote for Labour in the future? It's up to you. You know, everyone has to vote according to what they believe in. And at the end of the day, like, you know, you have a choice. You know, depending where you sit, like, and you know, all of those people who said they want Labour to have a big majority, there you go. If they had a smaller majority, right? If there were more Lib Dems there, more Greens there, that vote could have failed, and they could have gone back to the drawing board and have to come up with a much better bill. But all of those people who wanted Labour to get a fat majority, well done, well done. Mission complete, guys. You guys did it. You know, as much as I clown Femi, and I do clown him a lot, he deserves it. He was right about winning a hung parliament. I don't think we'd be in this mess. If we had a hung parliament, or just a very small majority, you know, like a 20-30 majority, which is, you know, on occasion they're going to rebel against the government. You know, Rishi Sunak saw rebellions. He had an 80+ majority or 70+ majority. So it's tragedy. And guys, it's way too hot to be streaming. I'll be honest. I am struggling a bit. I'm sweating like really badly. So I'm gonna cut the stream here, guys. I just wanted to get like a little stream for the thing, especially because I haven't been that great at recording recently. So I thought I'd give you guys a little stream until I can get back into full flow, which will probably happen on Thursday. I think I'll be putting out some content. I think I'm free tomorrow. I'm busy, and Friday I'm busy, so we're gonna get back at it. But yeah, anyways, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can. Memberships are available, super chats and all that stuff. And I will catch you guys on Saturday, hopefully. Bye.